Hey all, welcome back to the channel. Brendan here, aka Cliff Jumper, and we are turning our attention to our new-ish to us Mk5 R32. Yes, this is Jinx, and Jinx has a problem. She doesn't have a modern CarPlay stereo in her, and I think that this is something we can fix for like less than 150 bucks. So let's see what the option is out there that's been recommended to me, how good it is, how easy it is to install, whether it actually is plug and play, and whether it actually works with all the things. So let's check it out. Now the Mk5 originally came with this. This was the original head unit that was in it. It has a CD player that plays MP3 CDs, which was really cool for the time in 2008, and mine has already been upgraded with this. This is, I forget what model it is, but it is a touchscreen unit that has a smallish screen. It's got some better multimedia capabilities. It's got built-in navigation. This was like the European upgrade compared to the thing that came here in the US. And it's, you know, all right for its time. And it does allow me to play media off of an SD memory card, a full-size one, not one of the micro ones. It does have very limited Bluetooth capability, which allows me to do phone calls off of my phone, but nothing else. That's it. You can do phone calls. You cannot play any media from your phone. No smart capabilities whatsoever. So, it's a bit limited. But what I have found with the Mk5 platform is it's really easy to remove these stereos and put other stuff in. I found that out when I was installing this. I was putting in the phone mount. This is the permanent phone mount, and I'm very happy with this, but I'm going to go ahead and pull this one out, and let's see how the new one works. So if you've got your typical Mk5, you probably don't have this storage tray at the top. Mine does have the storage tray, and to remove the radio, I'm just going to pull that out of the way. There's a couple of Torx screws down in here that I will need to remove. You know, one here and one over here. So I'll undo those. Then I can lift out that tray. And then when that tray is lifted out of the way, then I can pull this thing up out of the way. This all just pops out as well. And then that will give me access to 4 more Torx screws, and that's it. It's fairly simple as far as accessing this. This wire hanging down here is my Valentine radar detector power cord. I have not hardwired it in this car yet. That is an upcoming project that I will perform and feature on my channel. This mounted in behind the radio. I'm just going to move that out of the way, and as I pull the radio out, we're going to see if it is actually plug and play with what I want to have happen, or if this is gonna be more involved manual that I've got here with the RCD-330 tells me if I have this connector or this connector, then I cannot install it with the harness that came with the new unit. So this is the new unit. See how shallow it is in comparison to the old one. I mean, this is like, the old one is full on like CD deck deep. This is just a tiny little thing, but this is the harness that it needs to work with. So let's see here. My new radio connector is going to go into this brown radio connector. I am not going to be plugging in the white or the purple one for what I'm doing here. And we use the extended harness and go to it. Let's see what happens. That. This is going here. And let's see. Let's see if it fires up. Okay, it looks like we got life. I'm going to go ahead and remove the rest of this wrapping. And before I finalize the installation, we're just going to see if we can get everything to actually work. So we're going to do some Bluetooth and connect my phone. Okay, my phone sees it. I'm going to go ahead and allow it to pair. Connecting cell phone. Okay, good. Pairing request. Okay, we've got life. Great. Now what happens if I decide? I don't know if the sound only turns on when the motor is on too, so I'm going to do that real quick. Oh, that is interesting. Oh, yeah, hey. Okay, we do have sound with the ignition turned on. Cool. So we have confirmed function. I'm going to go ahead and let's verify that it actually turns off and on with the key, because if it doesn't turn off with the key, then there's a CAN bus issue. Okay, it turned on. Connecting phone. All right. And when I turn off the key, let's see. It does power down. Okay, good. So now I know we're functional, everything is working, and we can go ahead and reinstall the stuff on the dash and then learn how this works and then try it out.
5 minutes later.
All right, now let's figure this out. Turn on the car, has a little startup screen. That's cool. Connected to my phone really quickly. All right, and I'm gonna mess with the I do not like that beep, so let us go and get rid of the beep. Thank you. All right, beep is done. I like that there are separate call volume, CarPlay volume, and navigation volume. That is really, really useful, so that's good. Let's see here, steering wheel control. All right, steering wheel controls work. Like this graphic EQ that I can mess with a lot. The system is pretty balanced as it was installed because this is some aftermarket stuff, so I'm not going to do a whole lot here, but I like that I can mess with it, and I like that I can mess with where the sound is oriented within the car, so that is super cool. All right, so let's go back, and I'm going to mess with this for a little bit. So I noticed in the settings you can actually select what color the key lights are. So if I wanted them to be blue to match this, I could do that. But I think I'm going to keep them red like the rest of the red buttons in here. And you can actually select a thing where it'll just automatically go through different colors, which, you know, if you're into that, I guess that's cool. But it's nice to have the selection of different colors available here to you. I'm going to leave it red. And we are going to go ahead and continue to dive through menus. I did not put a rear camera installed yet, so it's going to tell me there's no signal. I am going to go to the radio, and I'm going to start saving some stations here on the radio. I will say that the radio sounds really good. Quite happy with that. Wonder what all this stuff does. I don't even know. What does the link button do? Oh, that's taking me to my CarPlay. Okay, so link gets me to CarPlay. If I press that, oh, that gives me my Siri stuff. All right, cool. Nice. And that pulls up CarPlay very nicely. Okay, so just kind of comparison here. So if I can even lift this with one hand. So the old screen is like a quarter of the size of the screen on this one. And yeah, big difference. So I'm liking this. I am gonna continue to mess with the settings and get the radio dialed in the way I want, but overall I'm very happy with this. Oh, I just found another feature that I like. It deep in the menu settings here. So like if I go to menu, it comes up on this, which lets you dive into various things. If you scroll over to the second page, there's a car info, and it lets you look at various stuff. So it'll tell you the battery voltage, you know, various stuff, your speed, mileage. Now, obviously this is in metric, and I would love to see it in English imperial units, you know, miles per hour and Fahrenheit, but I'll take it. That's fun. That's fun. I'm glad that that does the thing there. So anyway, overall, very happy. It is doing what I want it to do. I've got, yeah, good stuff. I'm going to try doing a phone call with it just to see how it works. I think for under $150, this is a great option. And as we found out, it was really really plug and play. It came with decent instructions. I did have the proper adapter on harness that I needed in order to just plug in, and it worked, and it sounds really good. I know that on these YouTube videos it's hard to demo the sound because of all the copyright stuff, but I am an audiophile. Like, I'm an audio-visual professional. I'm a professional musician. I play in bands. I'm constantly after great tone, and this sounds really, really good. So I'm very happy with it. Barely had to mess with the EQ on it at all in order to get it dialed into what I wanted here in this car. Super happy with it. I'm gonna mess with it some more, and maybe we'll film tomorrow while we're driving around, so we've got some daylight footage. So one thing I discovered with this is it needs to run a firmware update. Otherwise, it's going to experience Bluetooth and connection glitches with your iOS version, because Apple's always doing updates, and the updates don't necessarily play well with the firmware of this unit. So going on their website, very gratefully, they are aware of this, and they provide some updated firmware. All you need is a USB formatted to FAT32. You drop the updated firmware onto here, and supposedly it takes about 5 minutes to update. I've been updating for about a minute, and we're at 38%, so we will see if that solves the connection issues. So the issues I was running into, if you do get this unit, it would occasionally give me an intermittent drop in audio from my Bluetooth. So the sound would just drop. All right, it is now updated. Let's see if it all right, we're gonna have to, looks like we're gonna have to reconnect everything here because it's saying not connect. Unfortunately, after the update, everything it starts over. So it looks like my previous setup for EQ is gone. Yeah, everything's been reset, Mike. My radio presets are gone. Everything's gone. So be prepared for that. When you run the firmware update, you're basically gonna have to start from scratch with all your settings. Might be good to write down what some of your special settings are if you've already taken the time to set everything up. But I think the best practice that I'm going to recommend is right from the get-go, go on the website, get it downloaded onto your thumb drive, get the firmware update, and just update it right off the bat. Now I'm going to drive around and see if we run into that issue where it the audio would drop slightly, like it would just be a silence in the middle of a song for a few moments, and then it would come back. I did experience where it came back with some static, but every time it did that, the screen itself froze. So we'd get no response from the actual screen. I was running CarPlay with Waze, and it was, Waze would just freeze. So if you experience that, you definitely need a firmware update. And yeah, I'm gonna drive around with it now that I've updated the firmware, and we'll see how it does.
20 minutes later.
Okay, so I did do the firmware update, sorry, and drove it. It took me about an hour to get home in traffic, and I did not experience any complete dropouts with the audio. I did notice a couple of moments where it seemed like it was losing the signal, and then it came back and there wasn't any issue, but I did not experience any more issues with the screen freezing. So I think the firmware update solved that, and that was probably a compatibility issue with the new iOS updates that Apple has rolled out for CarPlay. But overall, I'm really happy with this unit. I'm really happy with the features that it brings compared to the other one. The little button here to be able to dial up Siri and, you know, automatically send text messages and stuff, hands-free, super cool. The radio sounds outstanding. I really like the radio that it's got on here. I did not install the rear camera on this, but I'm definitely going to, because I think that'd be a great added feature on here. And I like the fact that it restored operational status to my volume buttons and my mute button on the steering wheel. So all in all, win-win. So yeah, for like 160 bucks, I think this was, and I have seen some Amazon stores selling it for less, but like 150, 160 bucks seems to be the going rate for this. All in all, the installation is maybe 10 minutes, so definitely worth your time. Doesn't take any real special tools. You do need a Torx bit for your screwdriver, and you probably would benefit from having one of those little plastic pry tools so you don't scratch your interior while you're removing this panel and this panel in order to get in here and do it. But yeah, thumbs up. This thing's great. All right, so I'll leave a link in the description. This is not a sponsored video in any way, shape, or form. I just bought this and I'm very happy with it and I'm sharing it with you. So I've got no incentive on it whatsoever, but I'll drop the link where you can find it. Hope it helped you out. If you liked this and it did help you with your Mark V, whether you've got a Jetta, GTI, R32, what have you, please hit like, subscribe, come back again. We'll see you again next time. God bless. Bye-bye.
And on that terrible disappointment, it's time to say goodbye. We'll be back.